I'm going to say this again. That's not really you. That is Megyn Kelly. Just a remarkable performance, but recreating that debate, which we all remember so well, it's an amazing opportunity for you to play her. But I think it's an interesting thing for you to do because she is, somebody that's controversial, flawed, a lot of different aspects to her that we haven't probably thought about.
Yeah, I mean, she can be polarizing. She's definitely incredibly conflicting. I think I'm definitely intrigued by people like her, but she was scary to, undertake because I feel like she's so well known. And so there's that kind of like hanging over you, this idea that you don't want to ruin the movie. You want to have there be enough that people can actually just enjoy the film and not go, well, that's not Megyn Kelly. Like I'm out. And then also you want to walk that fine line where you just remember that you're still telling an emotional story and it's not a robotic kind of Megyn Kelly skit.
Yeah, and it's exactly that. You really capture the essence, as do you, Nicole, of Gretchen Carlson. These are all people that we've seen, well, not me because I don't watch Fox News, but...
Come on, Pete.
that we've seen over and over and over again. What was it like playing Gretchen? She was the driver here of this whole thing, and did you meet with her ever, or she can't really talk about it, I guess, because of the settlement?
Yeah, she can't, and that's the first time I haven't actually met with someone that I'm playing. She's someone that there's an enormous amount of material on, and you have access to the way in which she speaks because she's speaking directly to the camera a lot. I've seen her in interviews, and so I was able to absorb her that way. Obviously, we look completely different, even in terms of height and body shape, so it was more trying to capture certain aspects of her face and her movements and her rhythms in the way in which she talks, and then basically her essence, which is a very it's a fighter. It's like I'm not going down without a fight, and it's a very confident sort of woman. But underneath that is a woman who was very vulnerable and alone and frightened. But fiercely determined to do what was right. And I wanted to be able to make sure that she was seen as the catalyst and the godmother of this particular movement, because that's really her what the crown she wears in this.
So, Margot, amazing. Now, your character is a compilation, basically, of a lot of real people who signed non-disclosure agreements, couldn't talk about it, and you represent all of them in this character of Kayla.
Yeah, you're right. Kayla is a compilation of many women's stories, and the filmmakers, obviously, here on stage have spent a lot of time with those women and have very detailed accounts, which I was privy to, and that was a real privilege, and I felt a great sense of responsibility to do their stories justice. And at the same time, I could recognize that in the script, it was evident Kayla's potency is to give the audience a chance to be in her shoes and experience it just a little bit, what that might feel like, men and women alike, which I think the former being particularly important. So it was, it felt important to me as soon as I read the script. Kayla's role in it felt integral, and I was very grateful to be a part of it.
John, you were telling me backstage how great the script by Charles Randolph was and how helpful it was for you in getting every little beat to play Roger Ailes.
You read this. I urged you to read it, to read the screenplay, because it's almost entirely stage directions. And we acted out exactly what Charles wrote. There are about 12 syllables that pass in the course of about 3 minutes, and yet your heart just starts pounding. It's so disturbing, and Margot and I just had this amazing experience of working on something that is that troubling, but at the same time that exciting, and this feeling that, oh my God, we're doing something that is so original, so surprising, and so important. It's in the midst of all the information the troubling information that has washing over us at this historical moment with the Me Too movement arriving, it's all descriptive. You don't see it dramatized. You haven't seen it dramatized behind closed doors.
All right, Charles, you just got praised for your script. How did this idea come about for you to do this? You had done The Big Short. You've taken on real stuff before and made it work as a movie. Why this subject for you?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, because sexual harassment is bullshit and it's got to stop. But that aside, they were the most unlikely human beings to be able to do this subject matter in some ways, and every one of them had a lovely complexity and had these delicious contradictions, and it felt like the perfect world in a way to express something about this simply because it transcended easy politics, and broke down some of our expectations, and it just made it a little easier to put you in the room with them because they could make you laugh, and you sort of. They could surprise you in a way that characters from other worlds can't often. Yeah,
it's amazing. And Jay, you've done movies like Game Change and Recount and tackled real life things in the political world before. So you're no stranger to a story like this. What appealed to you in coming into this?
It was the emotion. A lot of the stories I've done have had emotion, but I had. The sense of empathy I had for the characters surprised me, and it was upsetting, and it just felt like we have to do this. These are kind of the most unlikely women that you would expect to take on powerful men in this situation, but then really are they? They're like people. It's not a partisan thing. It shouldn't be that surprising to me, but it was. And then once I got deeper into it and saw this is not a partisan thing. This is just something that just women should be safe at work. It's just and that they weren't, and how they were manipulated. The darkness of Roger's approach, the sort of psychological manipulation of how he would move women and take advantage of them past the line that they thought they would never cross just a little bit, and then take them further the next time, and just the dark intensity of that character against them. I just felt for them. I felt, especially Gretchen, how lonely it was for her to take on this guy a year before Harvey, a year before women were all, and in a company where Roger pitted women against each other, so they didn't even have each other to depend on while they were doing this incredible thing. And I just thought the predicament was so powerful, and the experiences were so moving. Charlize sent me the script, and I just gave her notes as a friend and just said, "You got to do this." Yeah. And then she said, "Would you direct?" And I was like, "What?" So I'm glad I said yes right away. But it was the emotion of it that seemed distinguished this one from other things I've done.